Yeah, I wasn't sure what time you were going to show up because we changed the clocks. I don't think you guys have.
Right. We have. In fact, it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. I really wish that everybody could get on the same page. And if globally we're going to change, we should all
Same
change together, man.
same
Yeah.
time. That way, I'm not waiting around for an hour. You're not waiting for who knows? I don't know who would have been waiting for an hour, but
I don't know, man. But if I could have been that early, that would have made up for all the rest of the times I've been late.
it's fine. You're on time, which is great. I'm like, do I really want to be starting podcasting at 10 o'clock at night? Oh, no, I would have done it, but I'm glad that we're starting at 9 o'clock UK time. So that is great. When I logged into Skype, it told me that thing going, in May.
Yeah.
It's going, so it looks like it's going to be an easy-ish transition over to Teams, which I don't know if you have Teams. I do.
I do, man. I use that for all the meetings that I have, both for my main work as well as Danny's Garden and being a therapeutic coach and all that. So yeah, man, Teams is set.
Good. Mine will all be set, and hopefully there'll be no teething problems and, where's that record button? All that sort of craziness. How are you? How are you doing?
Good, man. How about you?
I'm all right. I've got some notes. So topics and...
Me too, man. Should we start off with a moment of silence for Val Kilmer?
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go. That. It'd be kind of. I'd love to do the full minute, and I probably have done over the past couple of days. But I think on the podcast, people will be like, "Are my headphones gone?"
Right. Well, especially if we'd stopped it in mid-word, right? Yeah. Like Val Kilmer. And then, so that would have thrown people off.
They'd be like, "Oh, they are still using Skype." I think we both knew that Val was ill, but not to that level where we were going to lose him. But
well, he's been struggling for a while. I mean, like from what I've seen in the whatever interviews and stuff he did. And you watched the documentary, what was that, 3 years ago on Amazon? That was good.
Yeah. That sort of gave me a whole new insight into him, because it's like over the years, obviously, we've heard the stories of him being a bit of a dick on like Island of Dr. Moreau and being like temper tantrums on various other things, hard to work with, reputation sort of thing. And I'd heard those stories and I'd read those stories, and then you watch a documentary and he talks about things like that and you go, okay, that's fair enough. Now I understand you a lot better. And so it's kind of a weird, I still see people sharing those stories. Go, I heard this. It's like, that's kind of true, but doesn't make him a bad person at all. Just makes him a complicated one.
Yeah, well, and we can all be that way. Well, probably not you. You're perpetually nice, but I mean, I think we can all have those Christian Bale moments when it's just like, I thought you were a professional, But yeah, I mean, it happens. And I think too, when you allow Hollywood to get to your sense of self-worth the way I think all top tier stars do, no matter how humble, I'm sure that Alan Richson has his moments. You know what I mean? He seems to be perpetually nice. So, man. So, what can you tell me about the story of the world's first live action digital feature film?
Oh, you know about that, do you?
Yeah.
That is something I've been working on for quite a while. It's been very quiet. And I haven't really talked about it too much, but it's a documentary coming out relatively soon about a certain Neil Johnson and the first ever digital film. So,
dude, that is awesome. Let's see here.
The final cut has been done after a few tweaks, and it's nearly ready to roll. I think it will come out in April. As to the exact date, I'm not 100% sure yet. A couple of boxes I need to tick. But yeah, it's been something that's definitely been going on under the radar, shall we say?
Well, cool, man. Yeah, I had a preview of the poster. That looks really good.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so there is that one, and then there is another one coming out.
Oh, really?
Not about digital. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say about that yet, because one of the producers is like, shh.
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting. It's called Screaming into Chaos, or Screaming in Chaos. Not quite sure which title I'm going to go with yet, but that's the second one, and that's more musical based. Shall we? Not musical as in musical films, but music based is probably that one. Whereas,
I thought you were going to be like our next time doing your show, we would sing back and forth. No. You know, it'd be like a Joss Whedon kind of thing, right?
I am still not won over to the world of musicals yet, but maybe one day. I was so my first like random topic. I was sitting down, and Annette was out today, so she went out about 11:30 this morning and got back in about 7:00 tonight. So I had the whole day to myself. So I'm like, what can I do? I can do. What am I going to watch? What am I going to play? What am I going to do? And then it made me sit and think that years ago I would just sit down and just watch films all day, and I'd be quite content, and I'd go, I've watched 5 movies today. I can't do that anymore. I don't know why. I seem to have lost that. Not necessarily my attention span has just jumped out the nearest window, like an enemy of Putin. But it's just, if I think, right, well, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch the first Dune movie, for example, which I still haven't seen, because I've got a big backlog of 3-hour plus movies to sit and watch, and that's one of them. So's the second one.
Right.
And I go, well, but I can't really watch that because I've got this other thing to do as well. And then I end up spending a whole day just going, what shall I do? And then realizing I haven't really done any of it. So I don't know. I kind of miss being able to go, do you know what? I'm just going to sit down and watch films all day.
Yeah.
And that's my day. And I don't feel the need to, my phone's beeped and let me check to see what emails come in and all that sort of stuff. And the same goes with podcasting to a certain extent. You'll remember in the early days of Waxing Cinematic, you do one show a week. So it's like you and Jake could sit down in a room and you chat for 2 hours and you go, that's that done.
Yeah.
Now it's just, podcasting is kind of crazy. Content creating is kind of crazy because you go, right, so I'm going to sit down with John, for example. We're going to chat for an hour and a half. Right. Well, I haven't watched many films, so I need to make sure I've watched 4 or 5 films. So there's another 6 hours on top. Unless it's Marvel movies, in which case it's 3 hours plus, for each. And then it's just, where's time going?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I try to be very observant as far as where I spend my time, but it's like I run out of day. I mean, Michelle and I had this conversation, I guess it was before our trip to Alabama. And, there are times where I get frustrated because I would like to be able to subdivide like Superman in the original black and white series and be able to work in the kitchen, trying to complete some things there, write more on my book and do some more art and play guitar and, and then watch a movie with Michelle. And then I suppose do something that would make some money. But yeah, it'd be nice if I could clone myself, but I run out of time as well. I think probably in part it's because I like going to bed at a decent hour. I don't stay up until like, at midnight or whatever, and then get back up at 6 and, like I used to. So
I think part of my problem is I've forgotten how to relax. I think so. It's like this afternoon, I ended up spending 4 hours, I think, playing Lego Marvel superheroes on the PlayStation. And I finished the storyline, did a whole bunch of that, ignored the phone, didn't do anything else. And I enjoyed that. It's like, I'm just going to spend a few hours playing a video game. And whereas normally I'd be like, no, I've got to do this thing and I've got these unboxings to do and I've got to, but I'm trying to sort of keep my brain on one path. Whereas normally it's on about 15 paths. And I blame social media, I think, for that. Because I was looking at, behind me, there's a big row of books that I've there, and I bought some more. I haven't read any of those. I've bought them with the intention of reading them because I want to read them, but I haven't even touched them. Haven't even touched them. And I'm like, where does all the time go? The time goes being on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, arguing about Snow White or our streaming platform prices, or how Disney has ruined Star Wars, I don't think they have, but I'm arguing with the people that think they do. And it's like the amount of time that gets wasted in a day arguing about stupid crap, which does include politics. I think people argue with strangers about politics and tariffs and stuff. It's just like it's a crazy amount of time. So I think if people can just put it down for like even an afternoon. I enjoyed putting my phone down for the afternoon and just playing the video games. So much better for your brain. I think being plugged into social media constantly, must check my Facebook messages, must check my Instagram things. No, not at all. Sodom.
Well, I can still remember when I would take a vacation with the family, and wherever I went, if it looked cool, I was always taking pictures, posting social media to keep my numbers high or whatever the drive was. And, and I don't feel that need anymore. I don't, if I'm going to share with you, I'll reach out via Twitter or something. If I reach out to Neil, it's direct, phone to phone. Same thing with my other friends. And I don't feel a need to share stuff with the world unless it's my dog, Jax. And then he is pretty damn cute. So yeah.
Well, the world needs the world, but you're sharing good things. You're not jumping on going, oh, look how much Snow White didn't make. Who cares? Unless you're Disney or you've got a back end deal and you're in the film, who really cares how much films make?
Yeah. Well, that, and then like the one guy who was one of the leads in Bird in a Glass House, the movie we were discussing, what was it, over the weekend or whatever, and he was in that Christian Bale dragon movie. I can't remember.
Reign of Fire.
Yeah, which was really good.
And
so he had this huge part, right? But because he was wearing the same kind of a bomber jacket that I think McConaughey was wearing in it.
I think even the dragons were wearing bomber jackets, to be fair. But that was a good movie. I like that one.
Yeah. But anyway, he looked too close to McConaughey. And so McConaughey was like, nah, this guy, just cut him out of the movie because I don't want anyone. Yeah. So Randall and his wife went to the movie theater on opening night. And it was just like, hey, oh, wait a minute. Nope. Where's my scene? What happened? So, yeah.
If I ever meet Matthew McConaughey, I will say it is not all right, not all right, not all right.
Right.
That's a good movie. It's Reign of Fire, though. I enjoyed that.
I haven't seen it in so long. I need to see it again, man. It seemed it had that kind of indie vibe.
Yeah, it did. But it's good. Alice Krieger was in that as well, who played the Borg Queen.
Oh, okay.
I think she was in the beginning, and then not because her character got popped off. But it's a good movie.
Yeah, I'll have to pull that off of the Blu-ray stack and check it out. That was still new enough that I had it on DVD, and then when it hit Blu-ray or whatever, I picked up an extra copy. So anyway, I've got stacks and stacks of DVDs I need to go through and see what I need to keep and what I have duplicate of, man. It just takes up so much space. Yeah.
My newest one is this Scanners in 4K.
Oh, dude, have you watched it yet?
I have seen everything on that. There's 2.5 hours worth of special features on it as well.
Oh, wow, man. Who was the special effects guy on that? Do you remember?
Chris somebody or other, I think. Let's have a look, because there's featurettes by makeup effects by Stephen Dupuy. Makeup effects, another guy, Chris Wallace. So there's a few.
Yeah.
But the restoration, it looks glorious.
Yeah. What's amazing, the things that were shot on film back in the 70s and 80s that still hold up today. And yet we have movies that are, like fresh movies within the last couple of years, and they look like trash. So
why is that, do you think? Do you think is it just down to the restoration that whoever it is doing, or do you think there is something in, because obviously like Scanners, there was no CGI back then, so it was all practical. Is it just easier to make practical look better nowadays than something that's got a lot of CG elements in it?
Yeah, I think that's probably the answer that you're looking for. I think when you're doing things practically, you just kind of know, okay, this is it. It's not we're gonna fix it in post, or we're gonna create the whole thing in post. So yeah.
But yeah, Scanners, that was my newest
Yeah.
Blu-ray. I've got some new items as well. I haven't unboxed them. A big coffee table book, No Time to Die.
Nice.
Still in cellophane, so that will get unboxed.
Yeah.
Got some new Star Wars stuff for the Star Wars channel. A Rogue One book.
Yeah.
Visual guide. One all about Solo, which is quite a thick one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then one about The Last Jedi. As well. So that's for the
It's
Star
funny that
Wars.
the glimpse of the Solo book, that could almost be Firefly or Serenity.
It could. Let me have a look. Nearly took the cat
similar colors and grouping of people.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, if you look at it. Yeah. I'll put it there. I might even put a Firefly picture on this part just to. We'll see if I can be bothered. But this is the one I'm excited about. Is the art of Batman v Superman.
Nice.
Which I
really
do like that one.
Yeah. So are you looking forward to the new Superman movie coming out in June, or is it July? I can't even keep up with it.
It's one of the J months, isn't it? I don't think it's August, so I think it's one of the two. Previous. I'm looking forward to it. I don't have any high anticipations for it or low anticipations. I'm just like,
right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Reasonable.
It's James Gunn. I trust the guy.
Yeah.
Fine. I'm ready for the internet to just blow up and start hating it, but I'm just, it's getting very easy to just tune out of all that now and go, whatever. People are clearly saying it for engagement, and it's like they're not having any of mine.
It's like the fun that they have had at the Superman where he's flying, and and so they have the what was the character's name from the Goonies? The
Sloth.
Yeah. So they have him. They have all sorts of, and I feel bad because I mean, when you're James Gunn, you're trying to boot this whole, not just a franchise, but I mean the whole DC movie universe.
Yeah.
And then people are taking these jabs. I wish that people had the passion for movies that you and I have and had when we were younger.
I was going to say that. I wish that people would just like the thing they claim to like.
Yeah.
And I will never understand why they're like, I'm a film fan, and I'm just going to try and destroy something that I don't like.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't really care if somebody doesn't like a film that I enjoy. I'm like, okay, whatever. But
you don't have to defend it. You can just say that you liked it, man. But I think that's another thing that a lot of the younger generations have been trained on. It's like, I thought Iron Man sucked. Why? Well, because I thought it sucked. Now, of course, I love Iron Man. But anyway, I mean, it's one of those things we don't have to explain, I mean, maybe we were just in a bad mood. Like when I saw True Lies, and I thought, wow, this is stupid. And then I watched it again when I was in a better mood, knowing what I was getting into. And it was okay, man. Same thing with Crystal Skull. I mean, like, saw it in the movie theater, thought it was trash. Yep. Saw it a year later with my dad, and I was like, you know what? That's not bad. So,
I felt the same way when I saw RoboCop at the cinema, the first one.
Yeah.
I watched it, and
really?
I'm like, this is weird. I don't. Yeah, it's fine, but I'm not. It's not that good. And then when it came out on rental VHS, I watched it. I'm like, this is the best film I've seen in years. It's amazing. And to this day, it's still one of my favorite films. But sometimes it purely is what sort of mood you're in. I remember when I went to see Top Gun Maverick at the cinema, as soon as the dong came in at the beginning, I'm like, goosebumps, hairs went up my, and I was in for the full duration. I'm like, this is the only time as an adult I've had, oh my God, movies are my life, and blah, blah, blah. I totally loved it. And I haven't watched the film since because I don't want to watch it again in a different mood, going, it's all right. Because it's like, I like preserving oh my God, that was amazing. I've just had a religious experience in the cinema.
Right.
It's first, since a kid.
Yeah.
But I do have the film on DVD. I've just not been brave enough to put it on and go, yeah, it's still good. It's just not as good as this memory in my head where it was amazing.
Yeah. It would be interesting if some of your viewers, listeners, I don't know how you describe your personal fan base, but
fan base.
But
no.
I mean, if they
hi Neil, and Chris. Shout out to Neil and Chris. That's my fan base.
Right. But if anyone has any suggestions of any movies that we saw back in the 80s that were phenomenal back in the 80s and would challenge us to rewatch them. If anyone who has really kept up with either of us, and that's through from Page to Screen or Waxing Cinematic, if there's a movie that one of us hated, man, challenge us to watch it again. I would like that. So
because quite often I'll watch a film that I didn't like, and then I'll be like, yeah, I kind of do like it now. It's pretty much anything by Stanley Kubrick, to be fair, and Christopher Nolan. If you take the Batman ones out of the way, the Batman ones I enjoyed first viewing. First time I saw Tenet, hated it. But then
Tenet was weird, man. I had my, I think I set the bar too high. And then when I watched it the second time, then I was like, you know what, this is okay. I see some cool things, but it was not Inception. That's what I was looking for. I wanted him to top Inception.
Is that his best one? You think if you take the Batman films out, or?
Yeah, it's certainly my favorite. And I tend to rank movies. Now, I'll just flat out love specific movie, but I think the movies that go beyond that are the ones like Inception, where, there's so many questions, and so many opinions. And, were the kids actually dead? Were they alive? Did he make it back? Was it really his dream? And I love talking about it. And you get some of these diehards that are like, oh, no, it happened like this. Oh, well, what if this is what really happened? And you sit around over pizza and beer and you're discussing a movie, which I don't think it happens that often anymore.
Have you seen John Wick 4?
No.
Right. I won't carry on with my little conversation then, because it would blatantly ruin John Wick 4. But there's a certain thing with John Wick 4 where they're like, we're doing a number 5, and people are like, that doesn't make any sense. You look at the storyline and blah blah blah, and you go, right. You can. I love films where you can make your own mind up.
Oh, John Wick 4, not the ballerina.
No, not the ballerina. There's rumors of a John Wick 5.
The one with infinite steps, and he keeps running up and then rolling down. There you go. Yeah. We did see that one. Michelle was at some point just like, what's the point to this? And I'm like, coolness. Anyway.
Visual popcorn. That's what I love that film.
But don't ask why he keeps getting up. Just go with it.
Just go with it. Exactly. It's like, this is the point where you think it's far-fetched.
Right.
Not with his bulletproof material and all that sort. You've got to suspend your disbelief.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know if we've hated a movie that I would probably. I can't even think of films I've hated, to be fair. There probably are a few, but I try and just put them out of my mind and go, well, it's not for me, and I'm okay with that.
There was one movie that
Beekeeper.
I thought was going to be. Oh man, I should have dodged that arrow, because I enjoyed that one. But what was the name of that Thomas Jane movie where it was kind of like Westworld? And that was my hope for it, that it would stick to that kind of Westworld kind of theme, and like maybe be a sequel to, I don't know, somewhere down the road. But it sucked. And I was so pissed off. If I could have deleted it from my Voodoo account, I would have. Wow. But they don't allow you to. I was embarrassed to even share an account with Jake, right? And, it's just like, hey, man, it's that stain on the rug. You can't explain it. You don't want to explain it. That was that movie. But so that and there was some other movie that I really, really panned hard, and I'll have to ask Jake. He may remember that. So, but anyway, I'm down with watching something that I disliked. I don't know that I want to watch that Thomas Jane movie again ever.
Oh, so even if you could remember what it was called. I've seen 29 films this year, which is not a lot for me. That's way down.
Wow, man.
I've seen like 17 seasons of TV shows. So I've been watching a lot more TV. I finished The Last of Us season 1.
Yeah. What'd you think, man?
Very, very much enjoyed. I didn't realize I was watching the finale, though. I thought I was watching episode like number 9, and then it finished, and it didn't come up with that. Do you want to watch the next episode? I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
Looked it up. I'm like, oh, so it was kind of a weird ending. It just kind of, it was one of them. Oh, so what are we going to do now? And you're like, what? It didn't feel like a finale.
I think season 2 starts this month, though, doesn't it?
That's why I've held off watching season 1 till now, because it's like I'm not into this whole. I'm going to watch a season, and then in 2 or 3 years, I'm going to get another season. It's like I'm good. I'll just wait. But I watched it. It's very Walking Dead light. You know, it's that sort of.
It is. Yeah.
Thing. I'm very curious. I've been out and bought the game because I've never played the game. So.
Oh yeah.
I'm very curious after watching the TV show what the gameplay is like, because you're like, I don't. Yeah. It doesn't. When you watch the TV show, you don't go, oh, this is, you know, I know what the game's going to be because it's this, and it's very well done, I think.
Oh yeah. Let me know what you think of the game. We'll talk about it whenever you get into playing it. So yeah.
But I picked that up. Watched The Last of Us. Rewatched the Dead Zone season 1 from like 2002 or something.
Isn't that where he could touch something and then it was the infinite zoom in? And
that's the one.
That was pretty cool, man.
And I've started watching a TV show. I'm only 2 episodes in, called The Pit.
Is it that rocks? Is it not?
It's really good. Yep.
It's
yeah.
How many? What episode are you
2.
on?
We've just watched the first 2.
Gotcha. So. Does that include the soldier that needs some painkillers?
I am not sure. We've just had. Not sure. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah. There's the one doctor or the intern that wherever he goes, man, his clothes get ruined. It's just like one thing after another. So. Yeah. But Noah Wiley, I mean, like, if he is a dick in real life, I would be surprised. This guy just seems to always carry those characters so nobly and full of emotion and stuff. But yeah, we're up to date with it, and I mean, like, Michelle and I look forward to every Thursday, a new Pit drop. So
it's we were confused as to why it's Pit with 2 T's, but Pittsburgh, kind of makes sense. So it's like an obvious one, but it's kind of weird. It's like the people who made ER, the Michael Crichton estate, sued the makers of The Pit, and you're like, they took them to court. You Google it and it's up there.
No way.
Because it's like, you've got him in a medical drama. That's just like ER. It's like, but medical dramas are medical dramas. You don't see them suing Grey's Anatomy, do you? So maybe it's just because it's Noah Wiley, but he's not playing like John Carter or anything, is he? So
yeah, that's weird, man. And speaking of Michael Crichton, there was a novel that he started that was about the volcanoes erupting on Hawaii, one of the islands of Hawaii.
Don't say volcanoes too loud. You'll get Neil on an airplane and he'll be off trying to find it.
All right.
So you got to whisper the word volcano around Neil Johnson, or he gets all excited.
That was good, man. I was going to add to it, and
also true.
You already talked. Yeah, but anyway, so his wife wanted to finish the book because he died before he could finish it. So then she found somebody who was a volcano expert and blah 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 and all this stuff, and finished the book. It was very good. You were talking about reading books earlier, so yeah. Then I was personally reading Hail Mary to Michelle, and this is by the same guy. I can't remember his name, but he wrote The Martian. Okay. And they will eventually turn Hail Mary into a movie. But anyway, so then I forgot the book, so we started listening to the audio version, and the dude, I don't know who's reading it, but I'm not into it. It sounds very narcissistic for me to say my read is better, but I felt like I really got the character because he's doing a lot of thinking out loud. And this guy just, I don't know. just is kind of dialing it in. So anyway,
have you ever been like that with a podcast where you go, oh, a new podcast, like, you know, a new show that you've never listened to, and you go, I can't listen to them, can't do it, I'm out. I've done that a few times over the years. I'm like, nope, your information's fine, but I just can't listen to your tone of voice.
That, and then sometimes when you have two friends get together, and hopefully this has never happened on this show nor on Waxing Cinematic, but anyway, I'm not even going to bring up the actress's name, but she had her buddy who was also an actress on her show, and they were just like giddily laughing and oh, you remember, the Red Book, oh yeah, ball. So there were all these fragments of insider information, and that annoyed me. I had to stop it. I'm a fan of both these actresses, and I was just like, I've had enough.
The inside jokes, we're just going to bash on the podcast now. The inside jokes, I'm not a fan of. You don't mind the odd one, but if you're going to do one, at least explain what it is, like volcanoes, and Neil will be on a plane. And rather go, hey, don't mention volcanoes. Neil will be like, you know, people will be like, what? That's
another documentary you need to shoot. Neil on a plane.
Also, when people eat on a podcast, like crisps and general, have a full meal. Nom, 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 nom. We both have drinks when we're doing it, because obviously the throat's going and stuff. But people eating and chewing, and also people typing a lot. I fell out with podcasts because of that. They're like, so anyway, and you're like, why are you typing? You should be listening to your co-host. And that annoys me enough. They go, nope, delete. So quite a few shows have been binned over the years. And also when people do that full-on radio voice. Welcome to another episode of Wax Cinematic. You know, that sort of, I love the fact that we just talk naturally.
Yeah. I agree, man, because it's you and I catch up, and we are allowing everybody else to listen in. And there's one girl, what's it, Premiere Gal, I think is her the name of her channel on YouTube, and she's really good at what she does. I will learn about new features on Premiere, but she has that voice where it's like, okay, so today we're going to study Premiere, and I'm just like, I don't want to anymore. I'm just going to mute you, and I'm just going to, But there was a music video that I did for a friend of mine, Mark Lassiter, and the guy who we had playing the bartender was the radio DJ. And I guess because I do so many different, voices and stuff for voiceover, he and I were talking, and I walked away using my radio voice. And I was like, you're a douche. Stop. I did not want to direct anybody like, all right, everyone, back to one. I was just like, man, that's too pretentious.
There's a Star Wars podcast that I listen to, and they both do the radio voices full on for like 2 hours. And it's like, if it wasn't for the information that those guys were sharing on the podcast, I'd be like, I'm out. I can't. I don't need every episode to hear you talk about your Patreon and all the benefits you get from giving them lots of, and a lot of shows do that. And it's like, just mention it briefly and move on. And if people want to give you money, they will. They don't throw money at podcasts, as we both know, but there's that. But,
yeah. Well, it's like Adam Savage at the end of his YouTube videos. It'll more or less kind of fade to black or whatever, and then he'll pop back up and, hey, let me tell you about this. But it's really quick, and you can always go, no, you know what I mean?
And
it's not somewhere mixed in. Yeah,
and it's at the end. Yeah. So well done, Adam. It's not like right at the beginning, and you're going to fast forward 25 minutes before you get to some new content. So, but I suppose a lot of it's just personal choice, isn't it? The listener. I'm sure some people listen to us at some point, going, nope. But we can call them idiots because they never got this far, so it's fine.
Right, yeah. Who was it that was it Steve Martin who when somebody was knocking one of his movies early on, and he was like, well, they're all idiots. I can't remember who said that, but there was some comedian that did a movie, and they're like, what do you have to say about your critics? They're all idiots. So anyway, there you go, man.
Whoever they were, well done. They are all idiots.
Right.
So. I was
Yep.
trying to find some films to watch this week because I'd mentioned it's like 29 films I've seen. I'm like, that's pathetic. I can't find anything new that interests me at the minute.
Yeah.
It's just like I just don't care. There's nothing on at the minute. So my list this week of films that I've watched. So I found 5 films that I watched. 6 if you count Scanners. Meteor from 1979. Sean Connery. So I really enjoyed rewatching that film. Saw it at the cinema when it came out. Great film.
Oh, I don't even remember that. What was the other space movie that he was in where it was in outer space and he was a sheriff or something?
Outland.
Yeah, that was really good. So.
Or it could be Zardoz, where he was wearing the Borat Mankini. But I don't think it was that one. Outland was a good one. I think it was John Badham that did that one, I think. So I watched Meteor, which is like, it is what it's like Armageddon. There's a meteor going to smack into planet Earth. Oh, what do we do? Yeah. And it's a disaster. A bit like it's the Irwin Allen type, disaster movies. Might have even been Irwin Allen. So and then I'm like, I need another new film to watch. 1979 Star Trek: The Motion Picture. Still stuck in the 70s. So I rewatched that one. And then I thought, right, I need another new film to watch. 1979's Apocalypse Now, the final cut.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why am I watching all these old films? I need something newer. 1987's The Running Man, and that's as new as I've got this month.
So are you stoked about The Running Man?
I am, because it's based on the book more.
Really?
Yeah. So the Richard Bachman, aka Stephen King, wrote The Running Man. It became an Arnold Schwarzenegger vehicle, which is nothing like the book at all. And now Glenn Powell is going to be starring in The Running Man for Edgar Wright, I think it is, isn't it?
That's, man.
Or that's based on the book, not a remake of the film. So all these idiots online are like, oh, why remake an Arnie film? They're not remaking. Yeah, they are. No, I'm not arguing with you. Go away. I am. I'm excited about it. I do like Stephen King stuff.
Well, that and Edgar Wright, man, he is a really, really solid filmmaker. So,
would you like to have seen his Ant-Man?
I would, man, and I would have liked to have seen what he could have done with Deadpool. I think the way his brain works, I think that would have been great, and maybe we would have had the other 2 voices that are rumbling around in Deadpool's head. It's kind of hard to have the extra voices when he's teamed up with Wolverine, because Wolverine can't hear unless he just talks to himself in the 2 different voices. But that wasn't my take from the comics, But I mean, like for the video game, he's on his own, so why would he not have the internal dialogue?
And was Edgar Wright attached to Deadpool at one point? Or no,
I think they were talking to him about it, or maybe that was like, hey, man, once you're done with Ant-Man, then we'll talk Deadpool, and then that never happened. No. I'm not sure. Yeah, and it could just be a rumor, man. You know how it is. We pick up all sorts of insanity from the internet and then repeat it for some reason.
It's like the old Tom Cruise was nearly Iron Man. No, he wasn't. They just... He was a name on a big long wish list back in the mid-2000s or whatever. So people now are like, oh no, he was nearly Iron Man. No, he wasn't. It's the internet.
What was the Jack Black movie that had Robert Downey Jr. in it? And it was kind of a Hollywood kind of flick where they wanted a specific actor for a movie, and he was playing hard to get. So they were like, oh, well, we'll just get this actor, Robert Downey Jr.'s character, and just say that he's got the lead. And so that this other guy would then say, oh, wait a minute, we need to renegotiate because I'm willing to come down my price. How dare you give it to this nobody, right? And I think that was one of Robert Downey Jr.'s comeback movies.
Okay.
If I remember correctly. But it was solid, man. When does Jack Black, everything he writes is still has that 80s flavor, which I think is kind of nice.
Do you mean Jack Black or Shane Black?
Shane Black, thank you very much.
I
for
was very
correcting me on that.
confused.
Oh,
I'm like,
dude.
Jack Black, Robert Downey Jr. It was only when you mentioned everything that Jack Black wrote, and I'm like, I think you might mean Shane Black.
Yeah. Shane Black, Jack Black, they're close enough to be brothers, right?
Yeah, of course they are. Yeah. But that movie's probably Kiss Kiss Bang Bang then, isn't it?
Thank you.
Yep.
You know, when I use the correct name, it's easier to guess, isn't it?
Yes. I would have said it was Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, but I'm like, Jack Black wasn't in that, so that kind of threw me. Thankfully, we pick these things up whilst we're having the conversation. Otherwise, comments would be like, "What, Jack Black?"
Right. John's on drugs. Damn it. No, I just work too hard.
I am excited about the Running Man. There's just nothing out at the minute. I don't know. I don't know if I've hit a funk when it comes to just watching movies. That's why I'm going back to nostalgia. I tried this week for the 4th time to watch Black Panther, the first one.
Yeah.
Just can't get through it. And it's nothing against the film. It's just like, I think that might be the moment when I'm like, I'm just out of Marvel because I'm watching Black Panther and it's fine. It is like 20 other Marvel movies I've seen previously, which is fine because I like those too. But then I'm thinking, well, what's next? What TV show do I have to watch? Where does this deviate to? And it's just like, you know what? It's too complicated. I'm out. I'm going to go watch The Running Man or something. It's just a standalone. But I just can't get through Black Panther for some reason. And it's not anything specific to do with the film. The acting's fine. I like Serkis. I like Boseman. The film looks fine. A good music score. I'm just like, I don't know when this is set in the Marvel universe. It's too confusing. The Marvel title.
Yeah.
They've just kind of lost me a little bit. And I've seen some since then. I haven't seen Captain Marvel. I've seen Ms. Marvel. I've seen The Marvels. But other than that, there's a lot of Marvel stuff that I haven't seen, and I don't know if I can be bothered catching up with it at this moment in time.
Right.
I think I might have to just start from the beginning again.
Yeah, you could. But I mean, like, the new whatever they're calling it, you know, kind of like Iron Man 2 Endgame, that's starting up. I don't know if it starts with Fantastic Four or if it's the Doomsday or Secret Wars or whatever, man. I too get confused these days as far as, you know, what's a movie, what's a TV show, which is which, where is this going, and is everything interconnected? I'm enjoying Daredevil Born Again, and there is a lot of connectivity there and it doesn't feel like a product push like some of the other TV shows where it's like, oh, by the way, hey, here's the this other movie that you've got to go see. It feels like a connected universe, and it doesn't feel like when they bring up another character, it doesn't feel forced, which is nice, because I think that just when you're creating TV series to sell other TV series, it just irritates me. Then you're not telling me a story. It's just, what is it? Shilling? I can't remember. There's some term. Like
It's wrong. That's what it is. It's not all right, not all right, not all right, in the words of my team. But I think it's the fact that these movies tie in with Marvel TV shows that I think has lost me, because I haven't seen the majority of the TV shows. It's like, I enjoy Black Panther. What's next? An 8-hour series of Falcon and whatever. No, I don't have enough time. I'd rather just sit down and watch an indie film for 100 minutes and go, that was great. What's next? What am I going to watch? Standalone movies, please.
Yeah. Because you remember when I was trying to think of the first, well, of course, there's Star Wars, but that wasn't originally created as a trilogy. But I mean, I remember Spider-Man when, that was really the first one that was kind of started with the intent of doing a trilogy. I'm not sure how.
I would think Back to the Future 2. Because the first one, and people have rewritten history a lot of the time. They're like, the first of the trilogy. And it's like, when you watch the first one, there was never a to be continued. I wasn't there in the theaters.
Yeah.
It was only years later that they added that one, and it was just kind of like a jokey thing. You're like, hey, to be continued. You didn't think there was going to be a Back to the Future 2. But then obviously when the second one came out, you knew there was going to be a third one because it came out 6 months later. That's the first one I can remember when it's like, oh, yes, we're going to get another one after this one.
Yeah.
That'd be like 88 or something, wouldn't it? 88, 89.
Yeah. It's interesting when, you've got, like, we watched Hot Tub Time Machine 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Hilarious movie, man.
Great film.
And, but I don't think they were really thinking they were going to do Hot Tub Time Machine 2.
No.
And then I forget who it was telling me that there's a Hot Tub 3.
Is there? Okay.
I didn't know. So yeah, man. But Hot Tub 1 was fun, man. And let's see. The only other movie that I've watched is The Electric State, which is on Netflix.
Yeah, nice.
That's the low Millie budget. Bobby Brown.
Is that low budget film that cost $320 million to make? How on earth does a film cost $320 million for a streamer?
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. Yep. But Netflix is going up on their monthly. So
of course they are.
I guess that's why.
I don't get why more people haven't ditched Netflix.
Yeah.
Because it's the most expensive, I think, of the streamers. And we got an email or Annette saw an article online going, here's all the things coming to Netflix in April. And she read the entire list out. And there was 2 things on it that I was interested in watching. One of them was Havoc with Tom Hardy from the maker of the Blade. And the other thing was the David Letterman show that's coming back. That was it. And 90% of the stuff that she was reading out, I'm like, I've never heard of it. Don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And it's like, people will not cancel a Netflix. If they were told keep one streamer, which one would you keep? Most people go Netflix, and like, why? I don't understand. I
think it's their extensive library, and I think it's that they have so many. It's kind of like, hey, are you reading that book? Okay, we're gonna take it and we're gonna use the book. You know what I mean? Like they just there's so many like AMC, Peacock. There's a lot of smaller streaming networks and stuff where they picked up, season 1 or season 2. Same thing with Showtime, and I'm sure they're getting it cheap. Because really, if you watch the first season of Yellow Jackets or whatever, then man, how do I see more legally? And then you sign up for Showtime. So it's almost like product placement or something. But yeah, I think that Netflix, if I'm bored and I just need to flip through, and find something that can occupy my brain, Netflix is. They do have a deep library. I can usually find something. And it's like, I cannot remember the last time I watched Black Hawk Down. And I hate that I'm watching it almost like a miniseries. But it's really good, man.
Such a good movie. Great film.
And the cool thing is, when we saw it in the movie theater, we didn't know who all those actors were, all these young guys. And now it's like, wow, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so. Lot of actors. I don't know if that was their starting point, but maybe, man.
I think a lot of it was. I don't remember seeing Tom Hardy in anything before that.
Yeah.
Orlando Bloom, I think, was around the Lord of the Rings time, maybe a little bit before.
And Ewan McGregor was in it, but that was probably, what was the Train Spotting days, maybe somewhere in there. So
that was a few years. Black Hawk Down 2001, Train Spotting 96. So he'd been around for a little bit. I think Ewan McGregor was probably one of the biggest names in there. But there's a lot of smaller names, and you're like, oh my God, it's them. Have you watched the documentary on Netflix, the 3-part Surviving Black Hawk?
No, is it good?
Down? I haven't seen it, but I'm going to delve into that one.
But
I currently have Netflix, which is free as part of my cable internet deal. Paramount Plus I have as part of my internet deal as well for 2 years, and Disney Plus, which I've got for 4 months because I'm getting it for £2.49 a month. So that will take you right through Andor. So I'm very happy about that.
Nice. So have you been watching Daredevil?
No, I haven't, because I'm just so far behind with everything else. It's like, do I really want to jump in? And
did you watch the Netflix series?
Nope. I saw the pilot episode, and I'm like, it's good, but I just never.
Yeah.
It's too much stuff to watch. There really is.
It really is
way too much, which is why it baffles me about the Netflix thing. Yes, it's got a very extensive library, but how many films does the average person watch in a week? 2, 3, maybe.
I mean,
like, really, just get Apple. It's got better quality stuff on it, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Have you watched Severance yet? I can't remember if we talked about that last time.
No, I don't have Apple yet, so I'm waiting for a special offer on that one, and then I'll jump on it. That's how I play with the streamers now. I'm like, ooh, shit, I'm having it.
Yep.
Makes it more fun.
So Severance is good. We finished season 2. Mythic Quest was hilarious as always, and then the season finale already passed, and that kind of snuck up on you, kind of like that TV show you were talking about, where it's like, you're just enjoying things, and then boom, you're done. So now they have something called Side Quest, which I mean, like, I saw one episode today, and it was just kind of lame in comparison. It doesn't have a huge ensemble cast, and so I probably was expecting something different. But but anyway, Reacher, that's finished now.
We're
season 3,
2 episodes into season 3. It's good. It felt a little bit disjointed in the first episode, to the point, because it starts in a place where you're like, is this really have I accidentally clicked on episode 2? Because what the hell's going on? And then it obviously does the 1 month earlier or whatever it was. Like, oh, now it's good. It is what it is. But I'm enjoying it.
I'm with you on the season 3 pilot, or whatever you call it, episode 1. He's in a very similar spot as he was for the beginning of season 2, where the woman is trying to use the ATM. She's all shaky, and then he goes and takes care of her problem in the minivan. So there, I mean, like, it was that was a little similar, but anyway. But yeah, dude, when he meets the big guy, the dude who's like 7'2", somewhere in there, dude, and then when he gets bitch slapped and winds up on the floor, that's in the trailer. So it's not necessarily a spoiler, but oh, dude. So, but it felt very 80s through the whole thing, as far as, a lot of what Reacher got away with, or walked away from. So
I was sort of looking at it, and I do like Reacher, but I looked at it and thought, Amazon, please don't do this with James Bond. I don't need, and it does concern me a little bit, this whole James Bond Amazon thing. It's like, I don't want James Bond to just be Reacher, even though I do like Reacher. Reacher, it doesn't, you don't watch Reacher and go, my God, this is beautifully shot. Look at the cinematography. It's not that sort of show. It's just like Reacher, punch people. It's great. I don't want that to be Bond. So I'm a little bit concerned. I want Bond to be a cinematic event that comes out once every 3 years or whatever, and I don't know if it's going to be that. Shall see.
Well, and it's funny. I mean, like, we got used to seeing Guardians of the Galaxy 1, 2, and 3 shot beautifully, man, anamorphic lenses, and I don't even know what cameras. I'm sure Neil's like going, hey, it was this, and this. But the Christmas special, which was great, did not use the best lenses. And so it just kind of, it dumbed it down visually. It was still great, but anyway, but yeah, so I'm with you, man. I mean, that is a sacred entity, Bond 007. Yep. So,
but then again, so was Star Wars. And, I've liked a lot of the TV Star Wars, but that ain't Star. I don't want to be the one who's not Star Wars. It kind of isn't. It's not the Star Wars we remember as a child, where it was like you go and you get the crawl, and you're like, oh wow. Yeah. Now you're like, oh, I don't really like the Acolyte. Oh, but that's all right. Skeleton Crew's just around the corner. So it becomes very Big Mac meal-ish. You go, well, that was not the best food ever, but I'll just have it again next week. Fill a gap, I think. Yeah. And that's what Star Wars has sort of become. And I still like it because it's still Star Wars, but You know, it's lost a lot
But
of that
it's
cinematic
yeah,
event, you know, must
yeah,
see on a big screen viewing type thing.
yeah. Which, jumping around a little bit, we were at an Airbnb in Alabama for a wedding over the weekend, and the TV that was there was huge, but it had one pixel that was just like dead, going straight down,
Oh no.
and 4K, thank goodness. I mean, like it's little bitty, but it took me back to the movie theater days where if you didn't go see a movie within the first few days of it running, it was
Hmm.
film, it would degrade.
Yeah.
And I had friends that worked at the movie theater, and they thought it was funny to, like if the movie split, then they would just trim it up a little bit further and put it back together. So people are, like, man, did I just have a stroke? I mean, but
Yeah.
do you remember there were all these scratches and there was sound issues so I mean, and that really, I think that's one of my fond memories of movies when we used to go see them when we were kids. And I don't, I mean, and that was a driving force to, I've got to see this thing before they wear the film out. And now everything's digital. It's going to look pristine every time, for every audience. So why not just wait until it shows on something in the home, and when it's
Mhm.
streamed. So
I think I was thinking the other day about how much the viewing experience has changed since we were
yeah,
kids. And it's a thing that's always in my brain anyway. And I don't think it's for the better
yeah,
in every way, really.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and there's probably some ways where I just can't think of them, but it's just, films, movies used to be in the theaters for weeks or months.
yeah,
It wasn't a case of, look at Snow White or whatever, where this is how much this money's made in 72 hours. The film's
yeah,
dead. It's bombed. It's lost millions. It's like,
right,
it would never have
yeah,
been that when we were a kid. You go, I can't go this week, but I'll go next month.
right,
So it would have time for word of mouth to spread. The word of mouth wouldn't spread across the toxic internet. And
right,
film thing for the most is pretty toxic. It's not pleasant. I mean,
yeah,
obviously there are some fun people that chat about movies and stuff, but there's so many toxic morons out there that are just like, I've seen a
yeah,
poster for Superman. That film's going to lose 500 million
right,
from a poster. Really? It's
right,
just fake
yeah,
trailers. And I miss going into video
yeah.
stores and just plucking a film off the shelf, and you get home and you go, please
Yeah.
be good. Sometimes it is, sometimes it sucks, and you go, oh well, that sucks, never mind, next time I will choose wiser. um,
Well,
but
but
but you would
they
watch it all in its entirety,
right.
whereas now on Netflix you go 5 minutes in, that sucks, watch another one. We had
Yep.
Annette's grandkids were around last week. There was three of them, so they're like 12 years old, two 10-year-olds sitting there, and within 15 minutes they must have gone through three different movies. Nope, nope,
Yeah.
nope. And it's like, oh my god,
Yeah.
what's one, for the love of God? So strange to see.
Yeah. The
But
oh, go ahead.
yeah, but it's just the way that I think we used to experience movies way back when. So
Yeah.
I guess we've turned into those people going back in my day. But genuinely, I think the movie watching experience was a lot better.
Oh, yeah. Well, that, and I think in this day and age where, I mean, look, the cinematic setting on an iPhone is amazing. Shooting in 4K, whatever frame rate you want. um it's still digital, but it is getting closer and closer to, sorry Neil, but I mean, like, it's getting closer and closer to true cinema cameras. There's certain things that they'll probably never be able to do, but it has put the power into so many people's hands so that they can go and shoot their own movie, whether it's a short film or feature length or documentary or whatever. And
Mhm.
but I think that also has super saturated the market with content, and
Yeah.
people are just, instead of grading on the curve, like, when Robert Rodriguez came out with his first movie, and everybody's like, wow, man, it's not Spielberg, but it's awesome, because he didn't have
Mhm.
Spielberg money. But it was just a different mentality. But I think now it's like, hey, you want to see my movie? It's on YouTube. You start it up. It's like, damn, man, these credits are too long or whatever. And then you skip it. There's something else distracting you. There's, some sort of clickbait, which I have to remind myself, because sometimes those posters, those thumbnails, yeah, I want to know it's clickbait. Stop, man.
Yeah, Henry Cavill is the new Bond. No, he isn't. For the love of God, some idiots just made a trailer out of other stuff that he's been in, and so on. But it's just, I think also, like you said, it's become so saturated. When was the last time, other than me, you, or your friend who was in it, mentioned Rain of Fire? I can't remember the last time I heard anybody mention that. Matthew McConaughey, Christian Bale, big budget dragon movie, really good movie. Yeah. I can't remember the last time somebody mentioned that.
Yeah,
it's probably us on a previous podcast.
I hazard a guess, man. That was probably on film, because that came out before the Brandon Routh Superman movie, right? Yeah.
Rain of Fire was around 2002.
There you go.
I was working in a video store for that, and I got a time-coded VHS for it, watched it, and I'm like, that's awesome. I'll have a couple of copies of that. And I got the rental DVDs in there and put them on the shelf, and it rented okay. It did quite well. People are like, oh, dragons. But yeah, that was early 2000s.
Yeah. Wow, man. And it's funny thinking about how far away we are from the year 2000. I mean, 25 years from it now.
Yep.
And now, it's even thinking about my two older kids who were born in the late 90s. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. I mean, where is the time gone?
This year, Titanic will celebrate its 28th anniversary, and you're like, that can't be right. I remember watching that at the cinema. Yes, you did, 28 years ago. It's it's absolutely insane. But it's the sheer amount of content that is judged within the opening weekend. I can't imagine what it's like to be an author, to spend how long it is writing a book, and then to put that book out there. You put it on Amazon. I don't know how many books there are on Amazon, but I suspect there's millions. So it's probably there's probably more books on Amazon than there are films on Netflix easily. So how the hell do you make yours rise above everybody else's? It's crazy.
I mean, because that is another super saturated bucket to cull through. And now, thanks to AI, it's like, hey, I want to write a movie about a man in an iron suit, and he flies around and saves the day. And AI Chat GPT goes, okay, well, boom, how long you want it? Well, I'd really like to have 300 pages. Okay, boom, it's done. And then you put it out there, and fake competition. I still want to come up with some sort of a logo. I don't know how you guys do over in your supermarkets, but I mean, it's like we have organic sections and special packaging and stuff. And I think we need a trademarkable sticker that says "Made by Human," just so that when your novel comes out, well, we're going to run through this filter and see if AI helped you at all. And then if it's 100% written by you, then you get a special category. And people can understand, because there's a lot that I've read where I start reading it and I'm wondering, is this truly a new amazing author? Is it just somebody with a catchy idea? And Chat GPT is really good.
I've seen, I mean, you could spot website articles that are AI. Because there's just something. There's something about them that just doesn't quite look right. Not a glaring mistake or anything, but you're like, it doesn't feel like that was humanly typed or whatever.
Right. And it's the same thing with the both text to video, as well as taking an image and saying, okay, I want this guy to stand up and walk across the room or whatever. And it could look like any star. So then these parody trailers, instead of people, like, you remember the one where I guess it was for episode 1, Star Wars, and someone had used After Effects and added lightsabers to one of the battles that was in Braveheart, and it was amazing. You have all these,
Wow.
and it was like, this is about the Clone Wars, and you're like, what? But somebody said no, that's from Braveheart, and then we're like, oh, I see it now. But I mean, with AI, there was, I can't remember if it was. Oh, I think it was another Fantastic Four trailer, and it said this is the final trailer number 2. Well, the whole thing was AI. I mean, like nothing was real, but I
Yep.
sometimes the clickbait is too strong, and I click upon it, and so it just, I mean, that's just more visual noise for us to have to kind of wade through.
It's more stuff that we're wasting our times on. Just by watching fake trailers and stuff. And I know people are watching this and listening to this through the internet, so we're not like fully bashing the internet, but it's like the amount of crap that we knowingly waste our time on is just, it's insane. I want to start getting back to the thing when I could just sit down on a Sunday afternoon and just read a book or read a chapter. I'm not going to be too cocky. I'll never finish a book on a Sunday. Those days are gone. But just sit down and read, or just sit down and I really like the idea of a day each week just not using my technology, but there's always something that I need to check, or prepping for a podcast, or answering an email, or something like that. I'll just check this once, and then next thing you know, you've been on it 5 hours. But just it's a crazy
Other than watching
world.
some TV when we were down in Alabama, we did a lot of we drove around, went to see cool places, and it was nice, man. I mean, like, and then I get back, and we did take Tuesday off because we came back on Monday, but then like yesterday I'm staring at the screen for 8 hours, and today it just I do long for just a better way to live, man. I want to say simpler, but I mean, technically me being able to pull out my iPhone and check my email right quick and then throw it back in my pocket, there are benefits. That is a time saver, but it is one more thing that you're just, kind of carrying with you, and that is demanding of your time. So it is that yin yang, man.
I think it's that, and I think, back in the day when we were first starting podcasting, there was pretty much Facebook, Instagram, which we didn't really use back then anyway. So there's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Now you've got those,
and then what was the other one?
MySpace was before then.
Yeah, there you go.
And so MySpace was on its own, really, wasn't it? And then Facebook came out.
Yeah.
And you go, it's kind of easy checking Facebook and Twitter. But now you've got a Blue Sky and Threads and Instagram, TikTok and Facebook, and you're like, that's 6 platforms. Even if you're cutting and pasting the thing into multiple platforms, which I do, because life's too short and all that lot, still takes up its time.
Yeah.
And then you've got Messenger. Bing, what's that? Bing, what's that? Bing. Oh. For God's sake. It's never ending. So I think if there was a way to just go, I'm just going to put the phone down to a certain extent for a whole bunch of hours and do some extra stuff. Write a script, or build a gun, or take Jax out for a walk, or something like that. You got to do that instead.
Yeah.
And not spend all the time arguing about cards. What's your game of choice? What's your card game of choice?
Oh, we love gin rummy. So that's something that we play a lot of times after breakfast, and I always have 2 decks of cards in my backpack wherever we're going, and so we can play. And then there's this other game, 20th Century Golem or something like that. But anyway, that's a fun game, and it's a board game, and not a board game. It's a card. You lay cards down, but then you try. Anyway, there's multiple ways to win. Whenever you guys come and visit, we'll play it. But and then Michelle and I enjoy putting on some music and dancing around the kitchen, or dancing down here, man. So
music I'm definitely getting into more. I will often not put the TV on and put some music on, listen to some of Chris's Aeonorex music, or M83, Oppenheimer. I listen to a lot of film soundtracks. So a lot of Hans Zimmer, a lot of John Williams, that sort of thing, and just no screens on whatsoever.
Yep.
Listen to some music, and it relaxes you a bit more. But then the moment you pick up your smartphone and start checking all your accounts and stuff, you get stressed because they're arguing about Snow White or being toxic and horrible. You're like, no, just put the phone down.
Dude, talk about Snow White. There was again, clickbait. I should not have clicked on it, but the thumbnail said whatever the actress's name who plays Snow White. Let's just call her Jane Doe.
Rachel
Ziegler.
Yeah,
there you go.
Very talented actress, and we'll give her the credit she does deserve for her acting skills.
But so she said, "Oh, I've been on the Snow White ride so many times, and everybody recognizes me and wants pictures and stuff." And then in a separate interview, she said, "I went on there when I was a kid. I've never been back because it terrified me." Right? Okay. So we've all had those brain farts where we've got to keep the conversation going because people are interviewing us.
Yeah.
And, it's I can't imagine ever saying, "Oh, Star Wars sucked." But I mean, I may say, "Oh, there were some cool things in The Acolyte," but that's not exactly what I mean. You know what I mean?
But you think about it this way, you did just say Star Wars sucked. So somebody can isolate that clip and then
out
put
of context. Yep.
So-called Star Wars fan John Fouts claims Star Wars sucks. Put the clip in. You're cancelled.
Right.
Done. You're like, that's not what I said.
Yeah.
It's scary world.
Dave Filoni won't return any of my phone calls now. It's
done because you've said, but I didn't say that, Dave. I really like Star Wars. Well, it's not what it's not what these 50 articles say. And they all got the source from one article. It's horrendous.
Yeah, it really is. The going back to books, I think the digital version of books is cool. I like carrying my entire library around in my Kindle or my iPad. But the most fun I had in all the way up into my 40s, and still whenever I get my hands on like a paper book and I'm, was open it up, fanning through into, to the next chapter. That was where my bookmark was. And I was determined that I was going to read through that bookmark. And then lots of times, like Jurassic Park was probably one of my favorite reads. I've read that book probably most of all. Rereads. And but man, I mean, like it would be 3:00 in the morning and I'd hit that bookmark again. I'm like, I've got to see what's gonna happen next. And I don't think that happens with digital because it's too easy to just, the Kindle's gonna keep up with where you are. And so you can just hit the button.
I've owned a Kindle for about, I don't know how many years. I've got a Kindle Fire, 7-inch Kindle Fire thing. And I've never read a Kindle book on it because it's like I spend that much time on phone screens or computer screens or an iPad. Yeah. It's like, do I really want to? No, I don't. My eyes will burn out at some point. So with digital books, it's one thing I've never, ever gone over to. I kind of get why as an author it's beneficial because it's like digital file, PDF, point. You can sell them cheaper. There's no production. So I get it. But as a reader, it's just like, I don't do it because I don't want to be the sort of person that spends every waking moment in front of a screen getting hit by the blue light or whatever. And it's like my brain explodes one day like some net scanners. But I bought a Kindle Fire when they came out and I'm like fully intended to start reading. But I still like the physical feel of a book. I like having it on a shelf. I never read them. I wish I could, but I see them. And I think also with the books behind me, I know they're there. I know which books are there. And at some point I'll read them. If they're on a memory chip somewhere, I don't know they're there unless I go looking for them.
Yeah. So. Well, that, and then, it's in a zombie apocalypse, unless you have a generator that you can charge or solar panels or whatever, then you may lose those books.
But in a zombie apocalypse, I can easily take out a zombie with this thing.
You could. And it's still wrapped, so you're not going to mess it up.
I'm going to be unwrapping that in a couple of days, so when I do the unboxing video on it. But I'm very excited about that. I got these really cheap off a Forbidden Planet website as well. They were like $2 each for like £40
Yeah.
books. I'm like, I'm having that. So I'll get some videos out of it. But yeah, I like digital. I get why people do digital, but I just, certainly when it comes to books, I'm always practical. It's more expensive to buy usually, but I'm okay. I'm fine with that.
You know what's funny is sometimes, I mean, the Kindle books are always like 99 cents to $1. I mean, they are cheap, but I'm amazed how many times you can find a hardback or a hardcover that is cheaper than the paperback.
Yeah. 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 You can. And I prefer hardbacks as well. I do. I like them.
Oh, yeah.
You know, paperbacks I'll usually read and then just pass on to somebody else, or if it's a bit dog-eared by the time I finish with it, then I'll just get rid of it.
Yeah.
But hardbacks I would tend to keep. Plus, you can't get a digital copy signed. You know,
right?
Somewhere here I have Zack Snyder's signature, so on a hardback book.
Yeah.
So
nice.
That wasn't cheap, but I'm glad I got it. So
yeah, well, it's well worth it. And I was just thinking, as far as with us complaining about all the digital stuff and the advances and stuff, I am glad that we can watch movies on the 4K TV, or you can project it, but we're not having to set up the old school, like reel-to-reel projector and project it on the screen. And my dad, every trip that we would all take, he was always taking slide photos, and then he would get it back and then organize it and put it into these reels, and then it was just something that we did. We would, he wanted everybody to relive the vacation. And now with the Apple TV, you can do that with your phone, man. And you're just, still going, you don't have to set it up. It's kind of nice, but it's just kind of funny how there are these throwbacks periodically to the past.
So yeah, I love digital, but I also hate it. So it's one of those. I love the internet, but I also despise it.
Right.
It's just in equal measures. For every 10 reasons that I do love the internet, there's 10 reasons why I think it would be great if it went away.
Yeah.
So it's just it's crazy. So what are you? Are you playing any games at the minute or not?
My son and I are still working through Gears 4. Which I've already played through the end of Gears 5. So that's kind of fun. And then we were playing Halo Reach on alternate Wednesdays. And that's, oh man, the rain and the music and just everything is too cool about that. But yeah, I mean, nothing new, man. I was trying to think if there was anything I was even playing on the phone. But no.
No. I was looking at the films I'd watched, and I'm like, you really wouldn't think that I do a film podcast. It's like pretty poor. I would recommend. I don't know if you've watched it or you had watched it, or we've already talked about it. I can't remember. My brain's dead over the past year. Adolescence on Netflix. Had you watched that?
What is it again?
Adolescence. It is a.
Oh yeah. It's a miniseries. Was it 4 episodes long? And yes, amazing.
There we go. Wasn't sure if we had mentioned that.
Yeah. I think you and I discussed it via Twitter or whatever. But that just, I mean, Michelle started watching it, and I came in. I think it was after the kid was put into the van. And he was being taken to the police station. And I was noticing that there were no cuts. And I'm like, wait a minute. Maybe I want to watch this with you.
No cuts. In every single episode, it is done as a single take.
Yeah.
Just in case you're wondering what that was Annette's new cat, who's been asleep next to me for the full duration. But now that we're getting to the end of the podcast, has decided I'm going to walk right in front of the screen. So that's what I thought. You probably saw this like tail go past or something. It's like that's exactly what it was. So I think the cat is realizing it's near its bedtime. It's good. But Adolescence, one shot all the way through every single episode. The camera work is just incredible.
I think probably, and watching the behind the scenes was really cool too. But I think when
Yes.
they are going through the school and being pulled aside and then trying to catch this teacher and then the fire alarm rings and everybody's pouring out and just absolutely amazing. We look
Mm.
at like Daredevil, I think it was in episode 1, Born Again. They had the Wonder, right? And we're
Yeah.
used to those in Daredevil and some of the Marvel stuff. But dude, I mean, like, the whatever Wonder Marvel has come up with that lasts 10 to 15 minutes, here's a whole episode every
Yep.
single time. And they cry on cue, which that is another thing that is absolutely
Yeah.
amazing. And um it was, when you kind of look at it deeper, as far as, like, when the kid is meeting with his therapist or whatever, and she's trying to be kind, and then he keeps getting all kind of popping off at her, when the cup is there on the table, and he knocks it off. So some of the what was it, hot chocolate or whatever, is on the
Yeah.
table, some's on the floor. As we're watching the camera move, after they're like, okay, no, we'll discuss this, right? And the janitor has cleaned up some. We watch the liquid evaporate off the table, man. It
Yep.
is
It's incredible.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
it doesn't take away from the drama of the TV show either. I don't think you can watch it as a drama and you go,
Yeah.
that's amazing. And then you go back
Yeah.
and watch it again and go, let's watch it from a filmmaking point of view. And it's just mind blowing.
Yeah.
There's still a couple of shots in there where I'm like, how the hell did you do that one? It was it's very clever. Very, very clever. But the problem is, I think they might have shot themselves in the foot though, because it's like, there's a program, and I can't remember the name of the program, but they've got another one lined up that's coming out within like the next month or so.
Really?
From the producers or from the makers of Adolescence. And you
Right.
just know that the idiot internet audience is going to be like, I mean, that wasn't in one shot. That's like,
Right.
no, but it doesn't have to be. It's just the same people have made something else. And they'll look at this next thing and go, be as good as the previous thing. And it may be, or it might not be. It doesn't have to be. Just something different. Let these guys and girls keep working. But I'll be interested to see what their next thing is. I think Shyamalan fell into that trap, didn't he, with The Sixth Sense? And whenever Shyamalan does something that doesn't have a twist, the internet goes crazy. And why is no twist? It doesn't have to have a twist. Does it have to have one? No.
Yeah. What? And that can be the twist. There is no twist.
There isn't one. Yeah. Exactly.
So I think you and I talked about the franchise, which was on Max. I don't know if you've seen that or not, but it's funny.
Yet. Is it good?
But it is very much, like a Star Trek-y kind of thing, where they're making this movie that's a part of a huge franchise, and so it's the behind the scenes. I liked it. There were probably way more in jokes that I got that Michelle maybe didn't, but she still thought it was funny. And now Apple has a show called The Studio, which is, it feels more classic. I mean, like, everybody is in, like, it's current. I mean, it is in our time period, if you will, but it feels more like old Hollywood. But it's funny. It's a little slower paced, but then they have these beautiful long shots where they're just following people around. And but anyway, and then the huge names, I mean, Ron Howard, Anthony Mackie, all making cameos and stuff. So anyway, we've been enjoying that. I think we've seen through episode 2.
So that is another Apple show that I need to add when I do spot a cheap.
Yep.
Not even necessarily a cheap one. I might just think, right, I'm just going to spring, because it's still relatively cheap anyways, Apple, compared to the others. So I might just treat myself at some point. Next time some money comes in, go, right, I'm going to have Apple for 3 months and just watch some different stuff.
Yeah. They have done I mean, like, I was trying to think, what was the name of the TV show that was like their first the big foray into doing a TV series? It had
it's like
Chris Evans.
I was thinking it was The Morning Show. That was the big first Apple one that I remember.
That one was huge too. This one came out, and Chris Evans was an attorney, and his son was on trial for murder or something. I can't remember
Right.
all the details, but it was really, I mean, like solid, storytelling. That was like one. I mean, I had bought a computer, so that was why I got like a year worth of Apple
Yeah.
TV for free. But I've
Yep.
kept it around, man. I
Yeah.
mean, like they've got a good flavor, man. Sci-fi and comedies, so and some drama, of course. But yeah,
Presumed Innocent I want to watch because I like Gyllenhaal. So,
dude,
but yeah, there's a whole bunch.
Yeah.
There's just not enough. There is too much content to watch, and it's like,
yeah,
I'm gonna try and plow through my backlog of 3-hour plus movies. So I've got Napoleon, the director's cut, which I need to watch. I've got the 2 Rebel Moon director's cuts, which I want to watch. I did like the shorter version, so I'm going to go back and watch them. 2 Dune films. So I suppose that's only 5 movies, but that's like 15 plus hours.
Dude, they're long movies, though, especially when you're talking the director's cut of Snyder's, Rebel Moon, because I mean, like, there's just a lot more. I mean, like, instead of the scene lasting 10 minutes, it's 30 now. So,
and I'm fine for that, but there's no way that, hey, Annette, can we watch a film tonight? Yeah, it's 8:00 tonight. What we're watching? Rebel Moon. Okay, what time will that finish? Just before midnight. It's not happening. It's not. So I need to sort of wait till she's out and then go, right, I'm just going to watch one per day. But again, I'm sitting there going, should I watch this 3.5-hour movie, or should I be doing some website articles or doing an unboxing video? Or I think I'd need to timetable myself and go, what night is it? Monday. That's what you do on a Monday. And just be a bit more regimented rather than having 800 different things flying around in my duffed up brain.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, when you have that kind of structure, like, when we were in school, like maybe every Tuesday was music day. Maybe, there was Saturday night, you did something else. You went out and got pizza, but it gave some sort of structure to our lives. And I think that's one of the things that I miss, in that, yes, they have TV shows that drop periodically, like every Thursday there's a new Pit. But I mean, if we miss it, it's okay. We can always catch it over the weekend or whatever. And at one point I tried to have, like every Tuesday or whatever would be guitar day. I'd pull one of my guitars out and play for an hour or whatever, and try to give myself something that would at least let me know what day it is. But it just becomes a blur, man.
It does, doesn't it? I'm kind of appealed with the social media blackout time periods, going right from 9 p.m. onwards. No, not at all.
Right.
Emails are different, because I got an email from Chris earlier on, and I'm like, oh, an email from Chris, and it was great, and I replied to it and stuff. But so emails are different. Then I need to check on Facebook and see how much Snow White's lost this week or whatever. It's just like,
right.
Crazy. It's just it's a wonder that our brains don't explode, I think. We do put them under more pressure than I think we should. Really do. So what are you up to for the rest of the day then? Jax has made an appearance or two during this podcast,
and I tried not to be a meme, so and man, he's actually asleep in a chair, and of course Lily just snores, but she doesn't come over and try to interrupt the podcast. So I guess Michelle will be home probably in the next 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll figure out dinner, and who knows, man? Maybe watch The Pit. I don't know when that comes on. It's probably like 9:00. We discovered that the 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again, we thought, okay, that's it for this week. But we watched them before the 9:00 drop of this week's episode.
Oh, okay.
So because they didn't have surround sound at the Airbnb. So we just didn't want to be disappointed. I mean, we watched the finale of Reacher, but it probably would have been more satisfying with some thump,
Yes, it would.
So we saved Daredevil till we got back. And so anyway, I discovered today that we still have one episode to watch this week. So that'll probably be our dinner entertainment. But other than that, man, one more work day, and then we'll be riding a horse. Well, we'd go take horse riding lessons on Saturday mornings, and I guess and then just kind of enjoy the weekend, man.
Yep. Probably sleepy time for me. Sleepy time relatively soon for me. Got a quiet day tomorrow. Got a few typey things to crack on with, and hopefully a quiet weekend. So I even try and fit in one of the 3-hour epics that I need to. But I don't think that's going to watch. She would watch the Dune films, I think, because she's shown an interest.
Yeah.
She ain't watching a near 4-hour version of Napoleon, though. I don't.
You have to let me know if that's worth it. If the director's cut of Rebel Moon 1 and 2, if those are worth watching, because I stopped. I mean, like, I'm a Zack Snyder fan, but I got I don't know, 30 minutes into it, and we're still stuck in this one scene where I felt like it felt long to me. Maybe it was
the first one.
Yeah.
So my God, not even the second one then. Wow.
Yeah. But I mean, like, the director's cut, I could see all the reasons why they cut all this stuff out.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, like, the originals when they aired, the non-director cut, man, they were all just phenomenal. We enjoyed all those. So. And here comes Jack.
There we go. As if by magic, Jax is like, right, that's your hour and a half. Podcast
Michelle got
over.
Michelle got home, so Jax is he wants to be sure that I know that Michelle's home, and then he goes back upstairs to be sure that Michelle knows that I'm here. So
and then Jax wants you to tell me that Michelle's home, so that I say thank you once again, John, for another podcast. That's as close to a radio voice as I'm going to get. Neil says he's looking forward to sitting down having a meal with you at some point. He did say hi to John and whatnot.
So it was interesting when he asked, said that he had talked to you and knew that I was in Alabama. And so when he was in Atlanta, we were, I mean, like, instead of being like this, we were like this. So, yeah, man.
Well, last week, everybody I know was traveling. So you were in Alabama. Neil was in Atlanta. Fraser was in at WonderCon premiering his Faithful movie. So I've got to find out how that went, but it hopefully didn't burst into flames because he's from Scotland and we're not used to sun from that country. But everybody I know was traveling except me. So that sucked, to be fair.
Yeah.
Oh, God. But I will leave you to it. Thank you, Jax, for letting us know that Michelle is home.
He rang the bell. Yep.
And you enjoy your evening, John.
Man, I hope you do too. And as always, it's great catching up. And we still need to do the Superman.
We do. Shall we do that one next? Yeah. Next time we reconvene,
let's do that, man.
Brilliant. Yeah, Superman the movie in 1978. Brilliant.
Yeah, man. Classic.
Cool. All right.
All right, man. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.